Yeah, thanks, Ray.
I hope you brought David's car.
You're gonna eat those Girl Scout cookies.
What's the other key?
I never looked in the bag. I don't know.
This is a key now.
Boy, those are.
We're going to call the council meeting to order. It's about 3:29 and 9/10 of 3:30. Yes, sir.
I move we adjourn.
Very
second that.
good. Very good. All right.
You can't make motions.
So, will you all stand and Vice District Governor Meyer will lead us in the pledge.
It's a flag's over. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone stay standing for the Lions toast.
Since we all have drinks in our hand,
To the
Joyce? Fake it.
not above me,
Go and Kegel.
in line.
May I be seated? Have a seat. We've had some changes in the batting order. We're missing our a couple of our council members. And so I want to welcome you. This is our third council meeting of the year and second to the last for the multiple district redistricts. So it is a historic meeting. At this time, I'm going to ask PCC Jim Whalen to come forward to do a mini protocol.
I brought my page and a half.
Tear it in half again.
Does anybody here not know anybody here?
We'll make it.
And I understand our council chair said that protocol was established this morning, so protocol is reestablished. It's back to you.
And
Where's
give
that
Marie
television?
your 3 pages of
All
notes
right.
so she knows who was called.
Roll call of the council by our council secretary Marie. District Governor Marie.
Council Chair Larry Palmer. DG Chris Gibbs.
Here.
DG David Price.
Here.
PDG Joyce Mayer. IPDG Tom Price.
Yeah, present.
IPDG Ray Clark.
Here.
IPDG Doug Harris. I'm here.
Roll call is established. Now, we'll go right back to you, District Governor Marie, for any correspondence and communication.
Yes, we got a letter from Leo for the Leo Convention, which is happening in California, July 20 to the 22nd. And they wanted a letter from the multiple district to endorse the convention. So I think we're here to vote on that.
They are looking for endorsement to approve a Leo's convention, as Marie said, in July. And so I think I just heard District Governor Dave make a motion to that effect. Do we need a second? Yeah, we need a second from one of you.
I'm not good.
Okay. Marie?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I believe that, Mr. Chairman, that I attended the last one, and quite honestly, the organization needs to be reviewed and revamped on our national scale. The group running it, they're not organized, and they're highly inconsistent with some of our principles. And so I can't endorse it, or vote to endorse it, but that's just me personally.
Okay, we have a negative opinion on that. Again, they're just looking for an endorsement. They're not looking for any funding at this point. So I will call the vote of our three council members. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. No. Motion is carried. We will endorse the Leo's convention.
Council Chair,
Yes,
may I ask a question?
yes.
Chris, I'm very concerned with what you have said, and I would recommend that our council take a look at this and hear what Chris has to say to see what we can do to improve the situation. Because if Chris says it's not up to snuff, it's not up to snuff.
I don't know if anybody agrees with that. I don't know that it's our position to do. I would tend to ask the other PIDs their opinion on the issue.
Number one, this was the third convention that they've had. They've had two in New York. This was their first venture outside of New York, and they came here last year. They're going to Southern California. They're all in the growing stages of learning. I've attended two of the three. They've grown considerably. They're having growing pains, and they're growing. I heartily support their efforts. They're constantly, I sit on the National Advisory Committee. They're constantly, we meet once a month, and they are constantly reviewing and improving things that they're doing. I'm all in favor of the program.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Yes?
I attended it as tech support. I worked with Lion Ann and Lion Allen. The youth who did the planning are outstanding. They do a marvelous job. The ones who are coming up who I met, some who I recommended, and the ones who handled the planning for that event. Were there some issues? There were some issues with organization, a little bit on the adult side, but they were not major. The actual events, for the most part, went off very well. This is a great thing for our Leos. It's a great thing to allow them to make that tie to Lionism and to help them become full Lions as time goes on. It's definitely worth supporting. And as PID Allen says, they are some growing pains. There's a new thing going on. Next year they're in California. I think every year is going to get better and better. These kids are amazing.
Okay. So we've had a motion and a second. We've put it out for discussion. We've had two governors approve the motion. We have one refrain or voted no. However, it is carried, and we will carry forward with a correspondence or letter of approval from our multiple districts. At this time, we'll have the treasurer's report. Mr. Governor Day.
I did pass out a balance sheet. There should be one on just about every table. If not, I have a couple extra copies up here. Our current assets, our checking account as of this balance sheet was $6,494.34. And we do have some accounts receivable toward the dues coming in. I just received a check from A today, 21A. 21B has paid in full, and we're just waiting on the check from 21C. And Marie said that they got the money, it's just a matter of getting it to me. So we're in good shape. The what do they call that? The fund?
Growth fund.
Growth fund, that's it. Has, according to this, 59,000, but I think it's 62,000 because I made a deposit in it. So we're doing quite well there too. I haven't had to touch it for any of our expenses. And with a little bit of luck, I won't do it again. Very good. Thank you.
We need a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
No, just file it for audit.
File it for audit? Okay, file it for audit. At this time, we'll have the multiple district committee reports and some other reports. District Governor Chris?
Yeah, we're
On your agenda, you see that it's 5 minutes each. Since many of these reports were already given, please, let's go home early. First, I'd like to invite PDG Rand to Willie is what they, I was just thinking that. I can't help it. To Williger, could you give us a health awareness?
Thank you, Governor Chris. Just real quick, a couple things. With the coronavirus problem that we're all aware of, we've received through Dr. Eleanor Britter a message from the World Health Organization, and they are asking us at this point in time to discontinue doing any health and wellness clinics because of the probability in close proximity, if it does get in this country, to spread. So we would ask that the clubs, districts refrain from doing any clinics at this point. They also address vision screening, and just a clarification on that, they are not saying not to do vision screening, but be sure and coordinate it with your school nurse. And also, when you are doing vision screening, to maintain some distance from each other, whether it's a person you're screening or people gathered around wherever you're doing the screening, because as we all know, this virus is transmitted mainly by respiratory, and the closer you are, the easier it is to catch the disease. Now, on a good note, Lion Eleanor tells me that we in the Health and Wellness Initiative, through the World Health Organization, have received just recently $2 million worth of medical equipment for missions on a go-forward basis. So these are in storage now until something breaks with the coronavirus and we can resume doing clinics not only in this country but worldwide. So that's where we are with the Health and Wellness Initiative.
All right, thank you. All right, PID Alan Lundgren, do you have anything to add to the MD21 State Convention?
No, but other than I firmed up the 3 clubs that will be co-hosting it with for us. From 21A, it is Peoria Pioneers, 21B is Gilbert, and 21C is the Phoenix Barangay Club. Those will be the 3 host districts. Barangay will be handling the program. Peoria Pioneer, the raffle, and Gilbert is doing the registration. The start of the paperwork, et cetera, will be going out this month in the Canyon State Lion, and direct mailings with LFA via her email chain, etc. It is going to be a formal affair. We're going out in style Saturday night. Joyce, you can get dust off that long dress that you wore 2 years ago. I won't tell anybody that you wore it twice.
Except this group.
Except this group.
I prefer jeans.
And at the same time, it is my extreme pleasure, as you know, Judge Haynes Townsend passed away this year. And the board of directors appointed
Doug Alexander.
Doug Alexander. I'm drawing a total blow. I'm seeing him and all in my mind. Doug Alexander was appointed second vice president, and he will be standing for election in Singapore or wherever they have the election. It could be a contested election. Well, good, that'll split up the votes if there's 3 running. So any of you that are planning on going, make sure you're the delegate and vote. If you know somebody that's going and is a delegate from their club, it is ardent that we support Doug Alexander. Most of you have met him over the years. Doug is a past international director from New York.
Yeah.
Did I get that right? New York. But he doesn't talk like most people from New York.
Watch it, I'm from New York.
Pardon me?
We would never guess that.
We
Stand
owe
down.
him our support.
The suburb.
And I will ask the council, if you haven't already had a motion, that you unanimously endorse Doug Alexander for president in Singapore. And I would so move.
I mean, later on in the agenda where it's at.
Pardon me?
We'll just do it.
It's way down.
It's on the agenda, Laura.
We can do it now.
Okay, do it.
Mr. Chairman?
I can't make a
I
motion.
know, but you were endorsing it out there, that's why.
Oh, yes,
About that.
yes.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
I'd like to enter a motion to endorse the appointed first vice president for Lions Clubs International as PID Douglas Alexander.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any further discussion? Yes, David.
I too have known Doug for a long time, before he was even a district governor. He is an excellent person, very intelligent. He worked for New York as a New York banker. He is just a fantastic man and well deserved to be president next year.
Very good. All right, we have a motion and a second. We have had discussion. I'll call the council. Yes, sorry.
The endorsement is as president or endorsement as in his appointment right now as first?
No, that's already done.
Endorsement as third vice president.
Yes, it's for Singapore as president.
Okay, is that clarified, everything? It's endorsement for president. So, we have a motion and we have a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, council, how do you vote?
Aye.
Opposed, no? Motion is carried.
Marie, I will send a formal letter to his campaign that we've endorsed him unanimously.
It'll be in our council minutes too that I sent to International.
All right, thank you very much. First Vice District Governor elect Joyce Mayer, do you have anything additional to add to the USA Canada Leadership Forum?
First is, it's New Yorker. It's not New York or whatever.
Yes, ma'am.
Get it straight, man.
How you doing?
Is there anybody that has any questions on it? I did speak earlier about it. If not, then nothing has changed. It's still in Kentucky.
No, Corona's still good. It's still good for the Corona, right?
Exactly.
Perfect. Okay, we're good.
And we'll be there.
All right, thank you. PDG Rosemary Gabriel, do you have more to add
Nothing
to
to
the
add,
LCI con?
but just to reassure people that if it's not going to be in Singapore, it's going to be somewhere else, and it's still on.
All right, thank
And
you.
for your information, I've had communication with Vice President
Douglas?
Doug?
no,
Brian.
George?
Vice President Bryan, the executive committee has, and convention committee has a meeting called for Monday in Oak Brook to discuss the upcoming Singapore convention. So hopefully we'll continue to get word, and I'll let you know as soon as I hear anything. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. PDG Fred Garmison. I can't see where to go. Oh, there he is. LCIF Campaign 100.
Just a quick point that brought up in the news. People not drinking Corona beer because of the virus.
I'm sorry, I'm good. I'm good.
All right. At the beginning of the year, I set my goal for the MD at $145,000. Right now, we're at $102,797. Once all the clubs make their annual donations and anything else we have coming in, as people have pledges of paying monthly, we should make our goal. Thank you very, very much for that. One important thing to get out to all of the clubs, please make your donations by May 15th. Because of the volume of donations that come in at the end of June, they may not get them processed in time to record them for this year. So get them in May 15th at the latest if you can. Some clubs don't meet that time. At this time, we have one 100 club. That's the club that pays, each member pays $100 for a year. 100% donation, 100 members. We have one of those, and that's in A.
What's the name of the club?
And the name of the club,
She wants to hear it.
Might as well promote them.
I didn't write it down.
Peoria Sunset.
No, it is not.
We did a
It is
model.
not. It is not.
Good, I don't feel so bad. He can't remember it.
I don't remember. I didn't write it down.
That's a CRS that we're talking about.
I'm trying to make a point here without putting names. We have 4 visionary clubs, 4 model clubs, 2 100 clubs, 3 classic clubs. 14 clubs have made written commitment to Campaign 100, and I think that's great. We have the possibility of one of the 100 clubs moving up to a model club. I'm working with them right now. We have another possibility of a club to become a model club if they get off and do it. It's just a matter of based on their previous donations, they can do it. So, Ryan John Walker's working on that one. I can tell you about those if you want me to. And finally, every district has community action grant funds available. A lot of clubs have it also. Between now and July 1st, the powers that be have to sit down and determine how those grants are going to be separated between 21 North and 21 South. Because some of A and some of the C overlap in the South. So you have to decide how those funds are going to be distributed between the 2 districts. So that's one thing that they have to worry about. And any club that has community grant money, they don't have to worry about that. That transfers with the club wherever they go. So, thank you. Any questions? Yeah.
You said your goal was 125,000?
145.
That makes a big difference.
Yeah.
It still doesn't add up.
Wow, 145, we got 102 now.
Right, which is 43,000, but you're showing we're down 57,000. On your report.
I said we're at 145.
Yeah.
We got 102.
Right. But your report shows that we're making the mobile down 57,000.
Not my report.
Yeah, the one that's attached to the.
This is the report that was published.
Okay. I'm just looking at the numbers that don't add.
Are you looking at the previous minutes or what?
Yeah, no, the February 22nd
February
report.
22, yeah.
Report, 5 days ago, 6 days ago.
The fifth line,
Where
Chris.
are you?
The fifth line. The fifth line on that sheet.
Yeah, it says making the mobile.
Oh, well, that's not what's in here.
That's the one that was emailed to me.
Here,
That's
take a look
okay.
at
I'm
this
just
one.
I'm a numbers person, sorry, Chris.
What he's got.
If you don't add, I don't give you.
One of those city managers.
Old one, maybe an old file. but
This is
sometimes it-
2019.
We're off a couple years.
That's last year's report.
That's last year's report.
We got the 19 one.
Where's that tail twister?
All right, we'll blame the council secretary.
That's the one that got
This is
it.
20,
That's the one that got it.
this is 20, we're roughly 43,000.
We're much better
We
shape
will
than
make
last year.
it, don't worry about it.
All right, thank you.
You get them.
All right, we'll get into our different committees then, or for MD21 GST, immediate past District Governor Doug Harris.
And the lights go out.
See what you did, Doug? Nap time.
We all know and heard at every meeting that service and membership go hand in hand. I want you to look at these numbers that Brian is going to. Thank you.
Do I need this, really?
Yeah.
Brian's going to show you some numbers. There's about 4 slides he's going to show you. Go ahead. The first slide says, okay, we have A, B, and C. We have something called people served. Look at this slide here. I'm going to show this slide, this slide, this slide, and this slide down the road. Did you see that number right there?
No.
400,000.
400,000, 459?
Right, you can read that.
I looked this morning, it has jumped to 403. So this was on Wednesday, and Saturday morning it jumped by 3,000. My point is this. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 areas of focus by LCI. And then we have another one that says all other based upon our reports. I've got 3 questions. Who knows what VSP is?
Woohoo!
Daylight savings time.
If you don't know, you need to call my wife and find out. VSP is Vision Service Providers. It's basically free money for your club in the form of certificates. So make sure that you're aware of the VSP program. 400,000 people served, diabetes 1340, environment 14,800, 1177 for childhood cancer. Look at that number. Hunger relief is 67,000, and this is what really is impressive. 210,077 that were served.
That's our number 1 right there.
That is phenomenal numbers in service. Next. We're jumping over to the actual per member. Total of 117, 420, 61 per member. That is phenomenal. We now have 107 clubs, by the way, for MD21. Next. Service activities. 1478, 22 diabetes, 86 environment, 15 for childhood cancer, 187 for hunger relief. Look at that number. 643 for MD21. That is phenomenal. Next. And the volunteer hours, 43,000, 242 for diabetes, 4920 for environment, 190 for childhood cancer, 3860 for hunger relief, and 14,843 for vision. We're doing the job that we're supposed to be doing in vision. Okay? Who's heard of the script talk system?
Woo!
Okay? If you don't know about that, let me know. Thank you. Script talk system is actually an organization called Envision America created that. We promote the script talk system. If you don't know what it means, it is a machine that tells the low vision and blind people exactly how to read their medication. Very simple. There's another item that I announced at the V-Rate program. It is called the Federal Government Currency Reader Program. You heard of that one? Okay, I have some samples. As a matter of fact, yesterday I got an email from a lady in Washington, D.C. She says, let me know if you need more samples.
So I will have samples available for you. What it is for low vision people and also for blind people, you can put currency into the machine, it'll tell you what the currency is. Okay, any questions? Did I make the 5 minutes?
You were
Thank
good.
All right. In membership, multiple district GMT, Al Hunter.
Any of you have never seen this before, you can find it on my LCI. It's listed under Insights. It's one of the best things I've ever seen that finally come out of LCI. As you can see, it shows the tracking of the membership. Also, if you expand it, it will show everything that you just heard as far as all the reports as far as service and stuff. It's fantastic. The only thing I wasn't able to do is try to copy that to put it on a report. So now that we have that, can you turn the lights back on?
Lights?
Somebody turn the lights on? I'm going to start with good news because the rest I got to tell you is going to be something we got to really start to get serious about. You know that PCC John Hart is 21B's GMT. I asked him to do me a favor and basically asked him if he would focus solely on Florence. I don't know if all you know about Florence, but Florence is down to one member. It's been that way for as long as I can remember. And every attempt that we've tried to do to save Florence hasn't worked. So I asked John if he would go ahead and take that as his sole responsibility. I would cover him as far as the District 21B GMT. As of last night, they just brought in their 13th member. Right?
6 months.
That's right. It took him 6 months. What he did is he transferred from Rincon all the way up to Florence, which is a pretty good drive for him. And then he brought in some other people from Tucson. They brought in recommendation from past District Governor Bobby, and bring in, what was he, the fire chief up there?
City manager.
City manager, and now he's a member of Florence. That's the good news. The only thing that we're worried about right now is that they announced they're going to close the prison. And we don't know what that's going to do to the town of Florence. But right now, Florence is actually servicing the community, and that was John Hart. I asked him if he would come up here and tell you guys how he did it, because we wanted to use that as a model. Right? Now where are we at right now? I did a trend analysis, and as the membership as of June of last year, to date, the trend has been flat. That's good news in a way because at least we're not trending down, but June is coming, and we all know what happens in June. Now comes the things we got to really consider, because I'm going to lay out something for you guys to consider, and it's not going to be good. It could be good, but we're going to have to be serious about it. 50% of our clubs right now are still under 20 members. 20 clubs in the state right now have less than 10. The aging thing, 65 plus, just went up from 59%, we're up to 62% that are over 65 years old. 70, 75, and 80 each ticked up a percentage point apiece. In other words, we're getting older. If you take that statistic and look at the 50% that have less than 20 members and the 10 that have, and the 20 that have less than 10, it doesn't give us a pretty picture. What I'm going to propose is this. I've been involved with membership on a district and local district level now since '97. And so what I'm about to say, I've given a lot of thought. When you look at a business and you're trying to find out why it's gone wrong, one of the things you look at is the business model. Because sometimes that is what's bad, and that means you got to redo it. I was involved, I was the district membership chair back when they started to get ready to launch GLT GMT. And the first year, that goes back to 2011, 2012, I think was when it happened. GLT, Barbara and I became the first GLT GMT for District 21B. When they created that, it was under the premise that we're looking at clubs with districts that have over 3,000 members and over 50 clubs. We don't have that.
So now, when I first joined the 21B, or actually it was the Northern California district, we had 16 members in the district membership committee. It was run by a past council chair who we all really loved. I mean, he was somebody you couldn't say no to. What we did was Merlot at the time. My responsibility was doing the orientation. But one of the things we did, we all met in the same spot at the same table, and we all shared information, and we shared responsibilities. So that's what we did. When we had clubs that needed help, it depended on what they needed and who was nearby, and that's what we did. Today, on the membership side, we have 3 people. Each district, and that's going to go to 2, because each district has a GMT. To cover 100, it was 107 clubs. As of last night, now it's 106. Because we just lost Tucson North. And that one was a surprise to me. I didn't know about it until an hour and a half ago. Okay? And they had, I think it was, what, 18 members. All right. I did not consider that club at real risk, so that was a surprise. That's not going to be the last surprise, right, as we go down this thing. So what I'm going to recommend is this. The GLT-GMT model is not working for us. It wasn't designed to work for us, and it's never going to work for us. We don't have the resources in order to do this. In order for GMT to work, you got to have a GMT person with about 5 members with it, and we can't get that. Every one of them has been running on their own. It's time right now that we go back, and I say we go back to the Merlot thing with the district membership committee and pool the resources. Because that's the only way we're going to do this. Because a single person's not going to be able to swing this thing. All right? And I know that some people may have a problem with that, but I'll tell you what, I don't. Because my focus has always been to try to make this thing work. I can't make this work. So, since we've got all the players here, both the folks here that are already in leadership, the incoming leadership, and then all the committees and stuff, I think that we've got a couple of months right now that we really need to consider how we come in with a different model. Something at least going to give us a chance at this. So hopefully, I've already talked with incoming council chair. I committed to her again. I don't know why I did that, but Barbara Daly. I was. Yeah, I will. I agreed that she can assign me some tasks and stuff, and I leave tasks as long as it's kind of short term. But I'm getting really serious about this, folks. I mean, I served 18 district governors right now and 2 council chairs. We have tried everything to make this work. So now it's time not to think outside the box. It's time to throw the damn box away. And let's come up with something different that we can at least have a chance at. Because if we don't, 5 years from now, guess what? We will be one district. And 5 years after that, it will be Arizona, Nevada, and New Mexico. So we have an opportunity now. And if somebody in LCI or anywhere else doesn't like it, I don't care. We got to make this work. We got to find those clubs that need the help. We've got to get the resources to them to try to do that. We already got 2 models. We got the model that John Hart put together as far as the Save a Club that was thought to be unsavable. Chandler put a model together on how you get young. By the way, our incoming leadership, except for 2 people, the whole leadership is going to be under the age of 30. So we have 2 models we can go with. Barbara's going to do a leadership thing back in April. She's going to do it. And we've got our president from Chandler, Isabel, is going to go and give a talk on how we did it through the LEOS program. And we're going to have several of our ex-LEOS Alliance, or LEOS Alliance leaders for our club are going to be there. And we can lay out how you can make that work. And if you want to find out how Florence works, get with PCC John Hart. Because we figured out how to do it. That is, you got to get somebody that's going to commit full-time to try to save a club. And then we got to look to see what clubs can be saved and what ones can't be saved. And then we got to figure out how do we replace the ones that can't be saved. So I'm sorry for the bad news, folks, but at least I think we have a new direction we can go to if we want to go down that road. And I'll help do that with if we can. So thank you.
Yes.
And I, GMT Chair Alejandro talked about how our membership is aging, and Lions International is very aware of that. So they formed the North American Membership Initiative, which is a task force composed mainly of millennials. I don't know how I got appointed into that task force because I'm older, but
So young.
but I'm part of the group for new club formation, and I can tell you that in March at our convention, we are chartering 3 new clubs. The Rainbow Club, I just received their logo. They're chartering with 80 members, and the median age of this club is 35.
Fantastic.
And we also are chartering the Indian Club. These are mostly composed of Asian Indian doctors and their wives and their children, so it's going to be a family club. They're chartering with 22 members. And the third club, and their median age, I would say I'd put around 45. And then we're also chartering we're calling it YEP LC. It's Young Entrepreneurs and Professionals Lions Club. And they're going to be starting at 22 members, and the median age of this club will also be right around 30 to 35 because it will be a business networking group. I'm working on 2 more clubs, the First Responders Club, and also a single club of which I will be an associate member. So that one will be for May.
That's for us, Annie.
Oh, yay!
So
The dating
hopefully, GMT Al, for your next report, the age will drop a little bit.
That would be good.
Outstanding.
Yoo-hoo! All right, hooray!
All right, so then we have the CC designate. Yeah. Council Chair designate PDG Barb.
Hey there, guys. You
Hi.
Hey there.
Okay, to tag on to where did Al go?
I'm
Oh,
here.
it's okay. You know, the bottom line, I understand what you're saying because we've nested ourselves into silos.
Yep.
And it's been that way for a long time, and people want to talk A, B, and C. I'm hoping when we go to north and south, we're all Arizona. Doesn't matter if you're north or south, and it doesn't matter if you're A, B, or C. You know, the only people that put up the walls and the fences, those are the ones we need to push aside and pull forward and work with teams instead of by ourselves. Because when you're working in a silo, it's difficult. And I know membership does that a lot. Okay, now to my leadership. I don't work in a silo. I have fabulous team members. And I have IPDG Tom Price for 21A, Lion Lori Gens for 21B, and PDG Rosemary Gabriel for C. You can always get a hold of them. We always talk as teams. We cross lines and help each other because it doesn't matter who we are, what we belong to. And I don't know if you know, but to do club officer training, it is supposed to be done at the district level through the district GLTs. Well, we changed it last year and decided to do it all state. We did one in Tucson, one up here at LFA. We've decided to do that again. And we pulled together a great class schedule. It will be in the Canyon State Lion, so make sure all your members at least open the Canyon State Lion. I will be sending these out to the cabinet secretaries to put out to. We try to cover our bases every which way. We do have a lot of different classes right now, and we pulled a good schedule together with people you really haven't heard from for a long time. So make sure we tell you this is not just for incoming club officers. This is for anyone. And especially DG Marie, she says, well, can my new club members come? I mean, it's not orientation, but learning something is better than learning nothing. And this gives them a flavor of what they'll see. And it's not just about being a club secretary, or maybe some people want to learn, well, what does the secretary have to do? Because we know it's gotten a lot harder to be a club secretary with all the reporting. In this quarter, we had the leadership conference, we had some outside speakers, and I heard a lot of comments that it really expanded their knowledge by hearing other voices than hearing the ones we always hear from. So it's not always easy to get some from the outside. I've finagled people to come from different areas. Hey, come on, I'll at least buy you lunch. And but then some, like we had Daniel Elkins in. This was the second time we had Daniel in. We had him at Ray's convention a year ago, and he paid his own way because he was visiting relatives in Tucson. But this time I paid for him to come here. I put it in the budget, which I'm going to go over with IPDG Tom about how to pump up your budget. We had 2 Lions go to Advanced Lions Leadership Institute in Chicago, and one went to the Faculty Development Institute in Houston in January. We used to be able to get a whole bunch of people going to the institutes. Guess what? It's not that way anymore. We're lucky we got the 2 to go to the Advanced Lions this year. They are overloaded. I mean, they only have like 100 slots, and they'll get like 200 applications. And it used to be people weren't going to them. And so we'd get, one time we had, what was it, 14 that went? Between Ellie and Allie. And now we're lucky we can get 1 or 2. But they don't offer emerging lions anymore. That's for people who have not reached club president yet. Those will be done at the district and multiple district level. And so we'll be talking about that to integrate that in next year's plan, because you have to plan for that. It's a lot of planning to do a regional or to do an ELIC, but we need to make sure that we get our young lions or new lions. It doesn't matter if they're in their 60s or 70s, they're still young. But we need to train them or else we lose them. So that's one thing we're going to talk about at our next meeting. We are, the day-long training. Now remember this, day-long training, we used to just train the presidents, the secretaries, treasurers. Now we're opening it up. So we want to make sure, because some people, they drive a long way, they bring someone else with them, and then they're bored because they don't want to listen to those 3. So we've integrated other classes, so make sure you look at that and tell your lions about it. District Governor-elect and First Vice District Governor-elect training, it will be held in March and April for the North and South governors. My team is IPDG Tom Price, PDG Dick Sawyer, PID Alan Lundgren, PID Carolyn Messier, and PDG Bobby Ravenkamp. Some will teach some classes, some will teach others. And we were supposed to do it the next 2 weekends, but DGE Chuck is still ill, and I don't want to push him to come next Saturday. If the doctor releases him, I'm going to wait. So we're going to release that until like the end of April, because by the time I had to call all the players who's on 1st and 2nd, it's going to be April 25th. So we're going to stick with the April or the March 14th and go ahead with that. So they'll be trained eventually. Okay. The 3 district leadership chair people inform their district on what's going on at the district multiple and LCI. I included their reports, and they're very busy. People think, well, someone said to me, well, at the multiple district level, you really don't have anything to do you? Sure. Well, we all know how busy we are trying to make sure we're integrating leadership into the clubs. If your club is lacking in leadership, you need to give your district leadership people a call and give me a call. If anybody needs training, I don't care what district it is, we'll get everybody trained. It doesn't matter. And if you haven't been trained for a while, I don't know about you, but we have some people sitting in this room that forget things. No names, and I'm names, half the time I can't remember my name. But that's my report, and like I say, make sure you get a hold of this if you want it personally. send me an email and I'll email it to you. Do you know what classes are out there?
I have
so
extra
you can
copies
look?
with
Oh,
me
good.
too, Barbara.
Tom brought some, but it will be in the March CSO. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. And PDG Bobby Ravenkamp is going to give us a report on a highly successful line service day.
Depends on how you measure things. When we brought this subject up, Marie, we said we had like 110 clubs in the state. We said we had 110 clubs in the state. Interesting phenomenon. On the 25th of January, how many of you participated in a service event? Woo! Woohoo! Better see every hand go up. Because this wasn't a hard thing to do, was it?
No.
The hardest thing about it was figuring out what to do. Well, we had 36 clubs who participated, by my count. That's based on reports that I received via email and what I extracted from Facebook. Only 36 clubs. What did we do? Interesting one. We had a barbecue and a Veterans Administration. We collected food and clothing for the homeless. We did a lot of packaging of food, Jim. We gave out donuts and cookies to first responders. All of them in Prescott. Then we did a lot of eyeglass collection and a ton of eyeglass sorting all over the place, all over the state. We packed food for Feed My Starving Children. Then there was a group with a past international president cleaning a field behind a food bank. There was a food drive at Albertsons. There was another food drive for a cent. There were homemade cards for youth. There was an ice cream social at a retirement center.
Well, that sounds good.
Let's go do that again.
There was lunch for a fire department and the firefighters. There were people who made sandwiches for Hope for Phoenix. There was people who participated in Maricopa County Veterans Stand Down. And they packed food for a market on the move. They picked and donated citrus for the food banks. They read to children at a health fair. There was, of course, vision screening at a health fair. One of the really fun ones that I liked was a group that told me initially, gee, Bobby, do you realize that's the only weekend we don't have anything scheduled? Who would that be?
True.
It was true.
Oh, Safford.
But at Safford, they decided they would help with an environmental project, and they planted milkweed for monarch butterflies. How unique was that?
I thought cattle. Isn't that poisonous to cattle?
No.
It's in an area that wasn't affected by anything but the controlled environment, which is an environmental area.
No.
We've planted over 700 plants, and it was very rocky and not easy.
Then there was the group of us who were really environmentally aware, right, Barbara? We did a lot of highway cleanup. In fact, we had 7 clubs that did highway cleanup. Now think about that. I figured out the ones that said they did street cleanup, those were the city people, as opposed to the highway people who were dodging traffic on US 60. So that was an interesting group also.
Hazardous pay.
So the comments I got from the zone chairs were kind of fun. Things like, we already have too many service projects already scheduled, particularly with LCIF week.
Yes.
We have not enough time to adjust our club schedule. The club felt that the weather was going to hinder anything they might try. There were clubs who were just flat out not interested.
That's legit.
And we had clubs who were not responding to their zone chairs requests. We had clubs that are turning in their charter. Thank you, no. Okay, what is my summary? I think it was okay for a first try. I think it was a successful project because we were visible. What?
Actually, what we did at Chandler, we cleaned out a field right next to Hamilton High, and what we did is that we actually got the Leos to sign up for that.
Yeah, I saw that picture posted.
So that
Yes.
they got credit for it, and we went out there and helped support it.
That's right. There's a lot of Leos involved. But I think that it was good because we had some visibility. There was a lot of local newspaper coverage, Stafford, that I never got.
Prescott, Chino Valley.
Prescott, Chino Valley, I never got that. I saw it, like I said, I saw it on Postbook. Yes, sir. Facebook.
Bobby, I think it was a fantastic idea, and I think you and Marie, and there's somebody else involved, Rosemary, I think it's a great idea. I think we ought to plan now for next year, so we have a lot of time.
That's right there on her summary.
That's on my summary.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
I think we have a continuing need, a real need, to find all kinds of media to publicize what we do and how we do it and when we do it. The stats that you gave out, Doug, for service, number of people served, I found that that was very hard to rationalize how many people you serve when you're picking up trash on the highway. You know, how do you find that number?
Somebody's reported it that way by LCI. Those are not something else you had to determine.
Right.
It's the reportee that does that.
How many cars
How
went
many
by?
thousands? Yeah.
How many cars went by? Two people per
So,
car.
the other thing is I felt that the district governors, and more importantly, all of you past district governors, ooh, every single one of you, you're the key to making it happen, to making service happen, to making it productive. Yes, Linda. Okay. Why? Because you tell the stories over and over. But you tell the stories. Ray. Okay? You're the key to making it happen. I say I would like to recommend to the council that you schedule another Arizona Lion Service Rally Day, and that we promote it.
I have more recommendations. I recommend that the incoming district governors include in their budget an advertising budget for our Arizona Lions Service Day, because I think that is one of the areas where we fell short. We did not advertise enough so that a lot of the members of the community did not know that we were doing this.
Let's start with our own Lions first.
And I think the January date is too cold because a lot of the clubs up north, like Flagstaff, they were still dark for the winter. The snowbirds have not, some of the clubs have not even opened up yet.
The issue with the snowbird arrival and departure is going to be smacking us all the way.
It goes both ways.
It goes both ways.
Yeah, so that's.
So picking one day, you know, I recommend the Saturday after we rededicate ourselves to Lionism. Okay. The reason I say that is that it's up to us to remind people just what service is. It isn't something that can only be done in a group. It isn't something that says I can only do it when there's a camera. Are we Lions 24/7?
Yes.
Some of us are. Some people only come to meetings for a meal. So we got to find those people and convince them that they can be in service. Yes, ma'am.
I also, just a suggestion that there's a lot of clubs that you know did a service project.
Yes.
And there's those we know that did not do a service project, whether
Yes.
they knew or didn't know, or say they didn't know. And I think now those of us that did get the information and are doing it, we need to now, amongst all of us, focus on the groups that did not, and either have them join, but make sure that they know. You know what I mean? Give them no way to not know, or find out what we can do, or do we have to have it the one day?
Well, the reason
Or
we did
maybe
it as
throughout
a
the
one.
month or something.
We
Yeah,
had LCIF Week of Service before,
Yeah.
okay? And Joe's recommendation was that it be a Arizona Day of Service. All of us, one day. And I would have loved to have been able to go to the newspaper and say, do you know, on the 25th of January,
Yeah.
we had this many clubs and we did this many things? But reports trickled in, or what I could pull off of Facebook.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really any cohesive effort, and I fault myself at not being aggressive enough with the zone chair. But when you get a report back that says, they don't care.
Well, we need to do something to
Bobby, I
help
think
those.
we
We
need
need to
to
do something to help those.
No,
clubs.
we
If
need
it's
to
a zone
set it.
chair, let me go there. Let's go there and say, hey, let's do something that day. Come on, we'll help you. We'll be around. You know?
So
some of
cheerleading
these
squad.
other ones, get them encouraged. a
Yeah,
little
but we
bit.
need
They
to
just
set
need
it
to
up
do
in our
something.
Lions calendar
Right.
as well, just like our conventions. This
Right.
is Arizona Lions Service Day. That
So do
way
you all
the
think it was
clubs-
worthwhile or not?
Yes.
I think it is. I think if we start now to really get it out there and put it out there
Kind
now,
of
we've done it
overlaps
once.
with the service people
Only gonna
guys
grow.
and the leadership team people and the membership team people, right?
Yes.
I thought another fun thing was when one club, very small number of people, said, well, we'll just make cards to give to homeless
There you
teens.
go. That's okay.
That was an inside, non-cold event.
And Bobby, that's a good point, because people think for the project, you gotta do this great big project with all this, even if it's something small.
Yeah.
Do a lot of small projects and you come out with the same thing at the end.
Gosh golly whiz, it
We
worked.
just got together with our club members that were available that Saturday. It was a nice day. Went
I think
outside
the
with the
biggest
yard, did
environmental
some
project,
sporting
my
and
yard is
camaraderie,
overrun
and
with
that was
weeds.
Okay,
good.
guys, open discussion is exactly what we tried to get on this, but guess what?
Sorry.
I don't know if anybody knows the backstory. Go ahead, Bobby, that's fine.
Yeah.
The backstory on this was that District Governor, is this too loud? I have a large
I can
voice.
hear you.
Yeah, I'm trying. All right, the backstory on this is that District Governor Marie came to us, the Council of Governors, and said she wanted a membership drive, statewide membership drive. And we talked about it, and quite honestly, I'm a proponent of service. That's how we get members. And yeah, big is great. Small is great. Visible is essential. Some of the things that we do are invisible to the public. So we've got to figure out on a day of service that we're going to advertise it for a statewide effort, that we're going to have to go and coordinate. This is the day we're doing it, and find a way to do it in public, where people can see us and say, yeah, we want to come. I will tell you that this day of service was a month ago. In the last month, in my visit to clubs, I've inducted 6 new members because of the day of service. Jim, PCC Jim, what do we have, 4 members come to your club because of that? We haven't inducted the other 2 yet.
Right, but that was, only one of those was there for that service, but the other ones liked the idea of what we did.
Right. So the whole idea, guys, is to create a synergy of visibility and effectiveness in your community. And so I don't think that we, the Council of Governors, is trying to dictate anything about how to make it happen. But, and I know how frustrating it is. As a service coordinator, I try to report everything, and I even try to report individual stuff. But that's all part of that game. That's all part of that thing that we have problems with. I will tell you that here's the thing we have the most problem with. How many people in here have ever posted a YouTube video? Have you ever put a YouTube video out there? Okay, so in this room, there's 4 of us. All right? The reason I say this question is because we are old.
Older.
Seasoned.
We're seasoned. Thank you.
old.
But I had a club member in a club just the other day who said, well, you know, Governor, all we got to do is get it on YouTube. So I asked his club, how many of you know what YouTube is?
Well, I know what YouTube is. I got that.
Okay, so anyway, guys, I agree. I think that we will need to continue that discussion. I think it was highly successful. Yes, one more
One
thing.
comment. You guys are here where the population is. We're on the river where the population is.
Where do you think I am?
Well, yeah, okay. Anyway, yeah, you too.
You're tad south
No,
and east.
I have a quick suggestion in the fact that if we could do it on a Sunday, because we go out to the swap meet and we collect glasses and talk to people and do that maybe there's a Sunday or something like that where everybody has a farmer's market or something going on like that, where we could also do collections of the glasses and this and be aware that maybe there'll be more attraction and more being able to get to the community in that way for those of us that don't have that many people, that have the snowbirds and that to rely on to get some information.
Right.
It's just an idea.
Here's my suggestion. Your council of governors that are sitting up here are in the rear view mirror. We're done. This year is in the rear view mirror. The service project was done. But we have an incoming council. We have an incoming council chair. And I would suggest that they take this project on, look at it, maybe create a task force to put the whole program together so that it's coherent, everybody understands it, everybody can get on the same page and get it done. But we can't do it anymore. It's past for us. But I suggest that for the incoming governors, that they take this project on because it is great, but it has to be done well. Okay?
Yeah. We had that on the 25th of January. What's the problem if you did it on the 22nd or the 27th?
Exactly.
And write it up on the 25th.
There you go.
That's why I said give us.
Well,
one
that's part of the whole review, the whole
reported as the 25th.
reorganization of it. This is a one-year trial, right? We did it one time. We learned something. Now let's use that information and do it better. Dave?
Yes, this is a question to you and to Council Chair Designate. I know Richard Hart lives in the hospital, he cannot be here. I see we have one vice district governor here. I do not see the incoming governor or the incoming vice governor for North South. Well, this is a council meeting, they should be here. Why aren't they here?
Sick.
Hang on. We're gonna move on from this. We've got a lot of things to cover yet, but he's got a conflict today that he couldn't make it. He intended to be here, but he's got a conflict with the state legislature. So that's where you're at. Okay.
Your wife still has.
Okay, we got my stuff to go here, so we're gonna move on.
Okay, we're going to move, for those who have the agenda in front of them, we're going to move First Vice District Governor-elect Richard Hopkins' report to the MD21 convention. Kansas State Lion, Les Davier, is there anyone going to address that?
I'll read that.
Oh, Marie is, okay.
PDG Les Davier II reports that for Constitution and bylaws, Kansas State, sorry. For the year 2019 to 2020 financial statement through the month ending February 29th, well, we look very favorable. They have a final balance of $5,600, I believe. Both revenues and expenses are within budget as of this writing. First half of 2019-20 CSL revenue from MD21 dues has been received. Second half, for the CSL revenue from MD21 dues is due and payable to the CSL by the MD21 Council Treasurer. Thank you, PDG Lesbian. Or you owe him money.
Okay.
That $10 you borrowed, Dave, he needs it back.
Do the other constitution bylaws part.
Constitution and bylaws. The committee received and reviewed proposed amendment, constitutions and bylaws for the following two MD21 Lions Day projects, namely the Melvin Jones Lions International Memorial and the Lions Foundation of Arizona. No issues or concerns were identified in either of the documents. They will be printed in the CSL in March, April, and May, and they will be presented to the delegates at the MD21 convention in May 2020 for ratification by written ballot. Thank you, PDG Les Devilliers.
All right, thank you. Also then, we have the MD21 redistricting and voting at the state convention. Brian Linda.
Thank you. Good to know who we're voting on now, I hadn't heard. Okay, as a surprise, guess what? We're voting to ratify Melvin Jones and LFA. That's the first I've heard. So that's, see, I was talking out of this here when I said we were going to be voting. Voting will take place in May. I don't know what day we're voting. I haven't heard that yet by council. Could be Saturday, could be Sunday, who knows? I have no clue. Probably, oh, probably Saturday? Okay.
We haven't put it together yet.
Only the chair, why would I know? So, please let your clubs know, and any contact you have with them, that we will again, each cabinet secretary will be sending 2 delegate and alternate forms to every club. One as the current A, B, or C, second as a north or south on where you are designated in the direction you are headed. You will vote A, B, and C for the constitutional ratifications. You will vote north and south as for the directors of each of the state projects. Those are the elections that will take place. I mentioned during our cabinet meeting, for those that were not in attendance, any state project. Money is due now because International billed at the end of September, or at the end of December, with full sheets of what your numbers are going to be. They put one report out and then went in and revised it and sent out another report after the first of the year. So each cabinet treasurer got a new list for what was to be billed. Those billings have been done by all 3 districts and technically should be paid on receipt. No club should be sitting and waiting and holding to pay their dues to wait for a board meeting to say, can I please pay the dues?
It's a done deal.
Correct. Comes in, due on receipt. So everything needs to be paid. The primary thing is that some are owing membership dues that were not billed for the second half. They still owe for the first half. So any balance, and I will talk specifically for A because I have not run statements for B and C yet, specifically for A, to make sure that you have paid any amount that LCI says you owe, you must pay. Don't question it, just pay. April 1st is when we will get the eligibility report for how many delegates every club has. That will also tell us who owes money. By the 15th of April, I would like to have everybody paid. I do not want anyone to send a check on the 12th of April to pay their dues, because I am not going to cave on this election. If International says that you didn't pay your dues when they give me the final report and put you in a status 5, you're not voting. I don't care if you have 400 delegates there, you're not going to vote. It's not fair to every other club that pays their bill. And that includes all supplies, all members.
And don't order anything after April 1st.
You can, yes, you can order after April 1st, don't order it before April 1st. Because the bill will be due 30 days, it will be due, it will be past due before the election. And you cannot be past due. So.
But if you have to order something after April 1st, you wind up owing the LCI. And it will show up.
But not on the report that says that you are in arrears and have to pay. So it is supplies and members. I don't know how much clearer, I'm trying to be as clear as I possibly can. If you bought it, you gotta pay for it.
All right, Line Linda, I have to make a comment on this because it's not your fault.
Till May 1st.
But if you add a member on the 20th of March, you won't get a bill until after that's due. If you add them on the 20th of February, it probably won't be billed, but you won't know about it, but it will still be on LCI's record. There is no way that the way that LCI keeps track of this, that clubs that recruit will be able to keep up with it. 2 years in a row, my club has been penalized for recruiting a month and a half prior to an election.
Same here.
Can I?
Same in South.
Can I?
Go ahead.
Okay. For treasurers and secretaries, when you go online as a governor, to go online, to go to a club, if you go online to the club report, go to the club report. On the right-hand side, it says your members, and then it says statements. If you click on statements, it will tell you if you owe money to LCI. If you click on the tab, if you click on any of the reports below that, in the bottom part of that the website, and click on what that amount is, it will tell you who it's for and when it was done. I'm only telling you what LCI says. All dues will be paid. Yes, I understand you just brought a member in on the 29th of March, and you don't have a statement. But as a club, you know you brought the member in.
Right.
So I don't want, I'm just trying to,
I know, London, I understand, but twice in a row, they have beat us up over this, and it was about things just like that, and I know Tucson South had the same problem, yet the simple fact is, somebody, PIDs, need to get with LCI and figure out how they can figure out how much money we owe.
Can I make a suggestion?
Because their statement is a month behind.
Yeah, but she's right though, Chris.
I know she's right.
Because, no, the charter club, they don't even have a club number yet.
Right.
And they're telling us that on top of their $35, they need to prorate March, April, and June, which is another 3 months, so they're being asked to pay another $13.50 on top of that.
Anyway, I'm sorry, but it happened to us twice in a row, and I'm sorry, it's not your fault. It is not your fault.
Linda has followed the rules set aside.
Yeah.
Right.
And that puts it in a tough-
Irrespective of our issues, she's got to follow the election rules.
Me too.
And that really puts her in a tough spot, because I remember my club.
Hold it, one dog at a time.
With my club, my wife was the treasurer, and we fought with LCI every year because it was so slow in posting our dues, and so we always had a
yes, you
imbalance.
can, and in that respect, I have already informed the cabinet secretaries and the cabinet treasurers of the other two districts, of B and C, that when we get this report, if you have not paid, it is going to be a very hard push between now and April 1st. Pay your dues, whatever balances you've got, get it paid. And then when it comes to that point where we know that you brought in a member and it's hit your books, it needs to be paid with a credit card.
Yeah.
not send a check after April 1st to pay your dues, because trust me, it will get effed up completely.
We need to get that out to the clubs, because that's a good point.
It is something that the secretaries, the cabinet secretaries have been at. I'm sorry, that wasn't really black.
Okay.
That was a different Lion club that I was in.
Everybody clear?
Yes.
Okay.
So anyway, and also, for those of you that want to be cute, again,
No exit.
and vote with a check mark.
You're making her cry, stop it.
No crying. There is no crying in the please don't. I mean, come on. If you had any idea, and I will be glad to give you the numbers of how many ballots were voided out of A, B, and C, that basically 1/3 of everyone that voted at that election, their ballot was thrown out because they didn't use the correct one.
I think some people just do it for the state, to annoy.
I don't care. If you don't want your vote to count, it doesn't make any difference to me. I can look at it and say, guess what? It doesn't count. It's voided.
Linda, there's a saying, it is what it is.
That's it.
It is
Well,
what it is.
okay. All right, now I'm on the soapbox. If it is what it is, then Mr. Hunter shouldn't be listened to, Bobby shouldn't be listened to, Barbara shouldn't be listened to, because they're talking about getting outside the box or throwing the friggin' box away.
We're not listening.
But we can do that, you can't.
We're listening to you.
We're listening to you.
We're
But I want you to
listening to
listen to me. And I thank you for your.
Before I get back to Chris, I just want to let you know that Alan, as the council, or the chair for the state convention, and I, as council chair, we have to get together to plan. It's a very complicated process to plan that whole weekend. So we're going to be getting together in short order, and then everybody will know what's going on. Linda will know when the voting is going to take place, but it's a process to get that all ready to go. So we will be working on it. Any old business that we haven't taken care of? Hearing none, we'll move forward. Oh, okay. One of the things that has come up as a subject we need to discuss briefly is use of the growth fund, when that can be used and for what purpose. So, Alan, tell us about the growth fund, what it can be used for, when it can be used, how it can be used, etc.
Oh, the growth fund is for the promotion of the multiple district, period. To promote new membership, growth, leadership, and those activities. What is important, and I commend, where's Barbara?
Over here.
I commend Barbara. Barbara, as the GLT for the multiple district, thought of all the items that she were possibly going to have. Thank you. I'm thanking you, Barbara, for when you submitted your budget request.
Oh, yeah.
We put all of the items that she could possibly need for her budget at the beginning of the year. I believe I've been hired again to do the multiple district budget, and I will insist on it, and I'm very firm. I grew up with Linda Finley. These are the rules.
Yeah, but some of us learned how to cheat.
No, we don't cheat. Wait, I'm not through. I can't get off my train of thought. If it's put in the multiple district budget, you can just spend it, whatever you need. If you've applied and the council approved your budget, that Linda's budget needed, the allocation was like 6,000 and she needed 12. And you approved it. So it's allocated. Then the funds are available. If they need to come out of the growth fund, they come out of the growth fund. All of those allocations are made ahead of time.
Alan, I think there's a different question.
Right. The problem is, if you don't put it in the multiple district budget, then you need constitution and bylaws, 3 chairmen, and the 3 finance chairmen for the districts. And you need a 2/3 vote. So you need 4 votes out of the 6 to get a change made to the budget. So the secret is, if you think you want this initiative, we've been, Arizona Service Day, perfect example. If we budget it now, and well, I don't have all the figures, get a ballpark figure. It's going to cost $2,000, $5,000 for all the advertising you want to do to promote it. It's for growth. Put it in the budget when it comes before the council for in August, July, whatever. Then it's approved. We have all the money. Our Constitution says that if it's not in the budget, this is what you've got to go through. Chris?
Yeah, the question came about, though, PID Allen, that the wording in the Constitution says that the growth fund is solely for the purpose of promoting international candidates.
No,
I promise that's what it said.
No, I beg to differ. I beg to differ. You're not reading the whole section, and it says and it's very broadly worded, for the promotion of Lionism and international candidates.
Okay, well, when we had it at the training session, PDG Barb, PDG Bobby, when we looked at it at the training session in the fall, it did not say "and can be used for this." It said for the promotion of international candidates.
No, I beg to differ. What I'm interpreting, the growth fund can be used for.
All right, I guess we don't have a copy of the Constitution right here, so.
Huh?
I don't have one.
No, I don't carry it with me.
I don't either.
Somebody go online and look it up right now.
Well, we don't have time for that big discussion, but I know PID Dick Sawyer, who worked on the incoming Constitution bylaws, we looked at and worked that section over. Maybe Dick can enlighten us a little bit.
I think Alan's on target. Alan's on target of what he said.
Okay. So there's an "and" in there. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm saying I'm interpreting it an "and."
Okay.
I don't have that information.
All right. We'll research it and get something out.
All right, we've got state project reports. I'm sorry, there's a question.
We had an email circulated from Tom Simmons. Did you guys go ahead and take care of that, or is that not on the agenda now? Or
It's referred to the new council because it has dollars involved.
okay, all right. I don't want to disrupt you, but I just thought I'd mention it.
He understood.
Okay.
All right, for the state projects, Arizona Rise Vision and Hearing Foundation.
Oh, yeah.
We have someone here still from that.
Over in the vision here right now.
Okay. All right, Lions Camp Tadier.
Yes.
Okay, hold on a second, Bill.
Yes, PRD Dick.
Want to go back to growth funds. Every single district has a slush fund out there. We'll call it a slush fund. That has to operate the same way as the MD's growth fund. If it wasn't put into the budget, It's got to go back to their constitution and bylaws and finance to approve changes. There will be money left over in some of those funds, I'm sure. How does that get divided into north and south? Basically by the number of Lions who go to the north and south from that district. That was set up.
As of June 30th, the total membership for A, B, and C will be allocated. If it's easier, I can explain it for C. There's approximately 100 members that are moving over to the south. All the rest are staying in the north. If there is $11,000 and there's 1,100 members, it's $10 a member. If there's moving 100 members, that's $1,000. It goes to the new south. The rest goes to north.
Yeah, that's not a problem, but we'll go back to the Constitution. I thought we had a copy of it here, so to review it. I think PCC Jim is reviewing it right now. Now we're on Lions Camp Tadia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm here representing the happiest place on earth. It's not Disneyland, it's here in Arizona. It's called Camp Tadia. Our new logo even shows the happy face of the people that we serve and the kids that we serve. We're getting ready for this year. We have a new camp manager. We're fixing his old house. The our new building is completed for the staff members, all which was done with grant funds. Staff is being trained on April the 18th in Leisure World. As I reported earlier, we have a golf tournament on May the 1st at the Biltmore.
Okay.
And we've had some other issues. You people are really rude, you know that? We are Lions and we're supposed to be acting as such. Anyways, the issue I have is that, like anything else, we've all been hurt with the tax credit. And so if you could pass it along, that you can do it for schools and you can do it for Camp Tadia as well, please. We have all been hurt by that one. And as always, the number of children that we can serve, or adults, whichever the week, is based on the money that we have available. So remember, this is your state project that you are supporting, and I would appreciate you doing such.
Hey, Bill.
Yes.
My wife just found out last week because we're doing our taxes now, and that's what we're doing with the state. And they got the list of all those that are eligible, and Tadia, for one reason or another, was not on that list.
Really?
So what we did is I went back to Sherman, and Sherman got, because you got to put the number down.
Right.
And we got the number from Sherman. The other thing my wife brought up, said a lot of people don't know how to do it. They've never done tax credits before. If we can kind of throw something at them and say, here's how you do it on your form, that might help them out a little bit.
We have a brochure on that.
Yeah, we have a brochure, we have a form. If we don't have the number, that's something that needs to be publicized through the Kansas State Line as soon as possible, or any kind of email that could be sent out.
It needs to be an email right away.
Yeah, because I was unaware that we didn't make the list this year.
I don't know, they shortened the list a lot from what I know. But I would assume, I don't know why we're not on it.
Well, thank you for the information. Sherman's aware of it.
Yes, he is.
Okay. Anyways, thanks for your attention.
Okay, before we go back, PID Allen, I just want to emphasize to both Camp Tadia and the Arizona Lions Vision and Hearing Foundation, Constitution bylaws needs to get your updated or proposed bylaws so they can be presented at the state.
Our bylaws Tadia's bylaws got voted on about 2 years ago.
Okay, well, no, they have to be changed.
They were.
Some of them were changed last year.
Yeah, we did.
Camp Tadia was changed last year.
And so was
Yes,
and so was the Vision Center.
It's LFA and Melvin Jones Memorial that we'll be voting on in this May.
All right, our PID, Alan, you had something?
Yes. Section 9 of our Constitution. A special bank account shall be established for all monies remaining in sections 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 at the end of the fiscal year and shall be transferred to this account. This fund shall be used for the development and promotion of multiple District 21, for campaign support for a multiple district approved candidate for international office, and to cover expenses insufficient in the current budget year for travel or other major expenses, a 2/3 vote, etc.
It's those commas.
It's a series of 3 things, and each is separated by a comma.
So we're good.
You're good as gold.
Next.
It was written that way on purpose to keep it flexible for
Yes.
promotion and for membership. That is for an international candidate and other things.
And for any shortage of funds.
Shortage of funds. But that's why it was set up that way. But it took the place, we used to have a promotion fund and a growth fund. It was all moved into one fund. And so that's what was done a number of years ago.
Okay, so it still takes approval of the Council of Governors to use any of it?
If it's not in the budget.
Okay. So you're saying if you put it in the budget,
Then the council approves.
And the council approves your budget,
okay.
it's good.
If it's outside of the approved, then you gotta come to the council, present it, and get approval.
With the finance and the constitutional law.
Yeah. All right, Melvin Jones.
Chris?
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yes.
Arizona Camp Tadia is on the list. It's under Lions Camp Tadia, but it is on there.
Is it? Okay.
As is the Vision Center and some Lions clubs.
All right.
Look under Lions Camp Tadia. Vision Center is under Arizona Lions Vision Center.
Where did you read that?
I went over
Okay.
and pulled it up.
Melvin Jones, Lions International Memorial Foundation.
Hi, I'm Annie. I'm the secretary and a director on the board.
Can't hear you.
Somebody's gonna
I
do
want
that.
to, first of all, I first want to thank everybody for coming and supporting the rededication this year. It was very, very successful. Everybody had a very good time, and I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for all that. Yeah, for all of that. So we're looking to do some more active and activity type things, especially within the community. Only because, not only, but a big portion of grants and et cetera, and as we're going nationwide and internationally now, sending our outside directors to state conventions and advertising, we're starting to grow that, and people are interested, they want to know. And to get these grants, we need to do community events for that. It needs to be for the community. So we're going to be doing some more advanced and more activity-wise rededications, not just for us, but for that community out there, so that we can get the funds and get those funds in a little bit more. We will be going to Kentucky, so we're going to be on the track to Kentucky, I guess, and we'll be doing some fun things. I have a plan to maybe, not just for Melvin Jones, but just Arizona in general, is to, if you guys were, I think it was it State or November, I had my photo booth. And everybody had funny hats and stuff to take pictures at the photo booth, at the hospitality suite. So I was thinking it might be a good idea that if we can get everybody to help collect some really cool, funky hats and derby type hats. May 2nd, I'll be doing a tournament. Louise and I help at one of the Lions Club's golf tournaments. And we'll have the guys wear those because it happens to be Kentucky Derby Day, the day they have that. So we're going to promote that, kind of get that out there. Then we have our state convention, which we will have a booth. We'll have the hospitality suite. So we will take some more pictures, and try to get everybody to get excited about going to these forums and getting the leadership and meeting the people and getting out there and letting everybody know what a good time and what good seminars and information and leadership skills that we can really receive. And then we'll be going to Kentucky. So we'll of course have a booth there, and we'll take that there and be able to have that photo booth there, because we have found just within the last year that I have been there that doing something active, doing something different, doing something funny, doing something fun, smile on everybody's faces gets people talking to you, gets people laughing, and that's what's bringing the information, the funds, and people wanting to help, because they're having a good time, and it's for a good cause. And so I'm hoping that we'll be able to spread that, and we're kind of going to do this on the road to Kentucky, and hope to get ourselves with the Melvin Jones, using Melvin Jones as a platform. But everybody that's going will be able to participate, and we're asking anybody that does go to take one seminar time and come and sit at the booth and meet people and do that kind of thing. And then we'll have a great rededication in January, which we will have Patty Hill coming from Canada, and she is awesome. So I really look forward to giving you the information and the fun stuff we're going to be doing for next year. Thank you.
All right, the last state project, Lions Foundation of Arizona.
Okay. Oh, I'm good. I'm good.
So the Lions Foundation of Arizona continues to be fully leased in our area here in Phoenix, and as well as Lake Paso de los Leones. And we did have 2 audits, one for Greater Tucson and one for Lions Foundation. So that has been completed. And as far as I know, that's all I have to report at this time. So if anybody has any questions or anything for me.
I'll be in Wednesday. Turn my heat on.
Just to let you know, I know it was stated that none of the ovens and all that was gone and not being used because they were broken. That's not the case. When this facility here is leased to Lions or out of Lions, they are not to use the kitchen for any heating or anything. Center for the Blind has their health certificate up there, and they're responsible for maintaining all the equipment, the sink, the ovens, the microwaves. So what they request of me is to say, we don't have a problem, just don't let them use any of those. And when you cater a function, the caterers usually bring all that, which Raina's did a phenomenal job and brought all that. So I'm just making that clear. Does anybody have questions for Lions Foundation of Arizona? Anybody want to know anything else? And another note on Camp Tadia, for the tax credit, which used to be called the working poor, they should have received a letter from the state saying tax credit and your code. But whoever has taxes, the state should have your code on there.
It's on the list that I just pulled
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
So all the codes are on the list.
It's just a formality, so. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you. Well, for the good of Lions, anybody have anything to discuss, bring up, bring forward, talk about?
I have a suggestion.
Oh, Linda had her hand up first.
Will the council also in the decision of when voting will be on whether there will be any type of memorial, and if so, what they, so that
We will take that under consideration, yes. Ellen and I will be working on the agenda for the whole weekend shortly. So we'll get with you, Linda, on particulars. Anything else? Oh, Ann had it.
Yeah, I have one of those goofy ideas that comes to me occasionally, as some people know. Have you ever thought of touching base with some of the churches in your area and letting them know about Camp Tadia? Because that might be a good source, and they may have people who would never be able to afford to go to a camp. Let them know, get those names from them. It's very good people.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay.
I have to ask, Anybody not received their Lion magazine in the mail the last couple of days? All right, so one or two people have. You know, it's now, you know, covers the winter months, the magazine does, and it's only about English-speaking North America. How many articles is this multiple district mentioned in? If you haven't seen the book, obviously you can't see, right? Actually, we were mentioned twice. So, want everybody to go, and when they find it in their mailbox, take a look and see. Twice, 2 times.
Good on the app on your phone.
Good, both are good.
Anything else? Anything else? And thanks for coming, thanks for staying, have a good trip home, and we are adjourned.